Okay, so where does construction begin? Today we're going to be talking about, well, where to get started online. We're going to be talking about logo, brand colors, and then we're going to go into how to select what we're going to do with our logo. Then we're going to go into the social media platforms. This is something you don't want to miss. Okay, let's start with the logo, and let me just get something off of my chest really quickly. I am so sick of seeing logos like Google's logo, like Facebook's logo, that are just a little letter, a little font. To me, there's no creativity whatsoever with those. They are just a safe route. They're just something that stands by itself. I'm probably going to get banned from existence for saying this out loud, but I can't help it. I hate logos like that. They bore me to death, and to me, it's just like the safe thing that people end up doing. And just so you guys know, you might see me look back there a couple times. I have a couple notes written down because I can't remember all this brand color stuff by myself. But let's talk a little bit about how to decide on what you should do with your logo. So I want you to kind of do a little mental exercise and think about your own personality. And I've never seen anybody do this before, and God knows I'm not a graphic designer. So this is the way that we came up with our logos. We've done tons of logos for construction companies as well. So think about your personality and be really honest with yourself. Are you a braggadocious person? Are you a happy person? I know that most of us would certainly like to be. Are you jovial? Do you crack jokes a lot? Do you have a lot of energy? Are you shy? Are you quiet? Are you easily excitable? Do you have a propensity to get loud? Think about all these different types of things, and if you can't come up with them by yourself, ask a friend. Ask a friend to tell you what your personality is like, because this is going to be an integral piece of determining a logo for your business. So once you have all that written down, when I wrote mine down, by the way, it said loud, obnoxious, youthful, easily excitable, all sorts of different types of things that I could come up with. And by the way, that's why we have a freaking gorilla as our logo, is because loud, obnoxious, just like what I am. So I want you to think about things like that. And before you get to designing the features of the logo, I want you to consider what colors you want to use. And this is where I'm going to look back there to look at a couple of my notes here for you. But I wanted to go through each of the colors and kind of talk with you guys about when I would use these types of colors and what they mean about your logo, what types of emotions they can elicit in your potential customers, and ultimately just try to help you along your journey of figuring out what the best colors that you can use for your color scheme are. So here's the most common colors in construction industries, and I'll give you a couple examples of the types of industries that we see them in more often than not. So starting off with black. Black is the color of mystery and sophistication. It is a very commonly used color. It is something that you will see in almost every single industry. So especially when a company is prim and proper, and hey, maybe that's you, they end up using black a lot. One of the advantages of using black and white, which we'll get into later, is that black is a color that works really well on just about any shirt. And by the way, if you're wearing a black shirt or a gray shirt or something, you can just flip it right around and use it as white instead, and it works out perfectly. So just a monotone black logo can work very well, and we see it all over every single industry, not just construction. The next one, which I believe is the most commonly used color in all colors as far as logos are concerned, is blue. So with blue, blue is the color of calmness, credibility, reliability, trust, eliciting calm things and natures to your customer. If you're a person that you're very calm and you're all about good vibes maybe, or something like that, in general, blue is just a really great color to use, and it's really great in just about any type of business that you may want to operate because of that feature of trust. We see this in every single industry, much like black, in the sense that a blue logo is something that is supposed to convey that a brand is something that you can trust. And by the way, that's why we used it for ours too. So no shame in using blue for any of your logos, no matter what type of industry that you're in. Now we're going to jump a little bit into some different colors that I would or would not suggest based on what you're doing. The next one is green. So green is a great color. It's actually my favorite color, so you'll probably see me wearing some green shirts here and there on some of these videos. But green elicits much different emotions in the human psyche. So the first of which is nature. So if you are a tree business or an arborist, or if you do lawn care, for example, green is a great color for you to use because it matches what you're doing very, very well. It can also suggest things like wealth. So outside of the construction industry, if you are, say, a financial advisor or something like that, I would strongly suggest using green. I want to use green no matter what I'm talking about because it's my favorite color, so of course I'm biased to that. But you should also know that much like how black can indicate death or grieving in some cultures, green can also represent enviousness and guilt. And so as you're thinking about colors, you really want to include that. So for example, if I were a roofer, I would probably suggest against using green because the last thing that you want as you're trying to help customers through roof damage and repair and things like that would be for them to think, oh, they're greedy or something like that. And by the way, to date, I've never seen a roofer logo be green before. Just something that I've noticed. I'll probably find a big one here before the end of this video is over. Next up is red. Red is the color of passion, excitement, daring. This can also be the color of violence, caution. So be very careful with your usage of red. We do see red around the construction industries. We see this particularly with general contracting businesses, and it elicits an emotion of, hey, we're going to try something that maybe we haven't done before. So I do like the color of red. There are certain circumstances where I might recommend against it. So let's say you're an electrician, something that people associate with danger anyways, because let's face it, you could get shocked. I would probably suggest against the color red. That might be something that's more apt for the color blue, or maybe a sophistication color of black, something like that. If I were doing electrician, I would probably choose blue and yellow. Those are just the ones that come to mind for me. Last up, we have white. White is a color that is fresh, clean, crisp, peaceful. It is neutral. It is a color where if you don't want your logo to jump off the page, if you want something else in your business to kind of showcase your brand's image, then I would suggest using white. An advantage to using white is that it's going to match virtually every single business card, shirt, all of the above that you're ever going to use. White is a great color for any businesses. Couple examples of where you find logos. So with yellow and orange, I see these all over commercial suppliers. I see them all over people that provide. I always think about Tonka trucks and renting commercial equipment. I see yellow and orange all the time with that stuff. So that's just one of those examples. As far as roofers, I see a lot of blues in their logo design. Makes sense to me because of what it means to be trustworthy, things like that. General contractors, I see y'all with every damn color that exists. So whatever color is your favorite, man, just go with that, because chances are if you have a favorite color, it probably says something about your personality too. So I guess I'm greedy or something like that, but green's been my favorite color since I was born, so I've been consistently greedy if anything. But it could also mean that I love nature and I love just the types of things that it elicits in me. So there's no shame in what your favorite color is whatsoever. That's pretty much it for as logo colors are concerned. So you've chosen your colors. Look up a color wheel online. There's all sorts of information out there about color marketing. Take 5-10 minutes, read a little bit about it, and it'll help you choose what color you want to use with your business. But here's the critical step. Look up what those colors go with. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen a logo that looks terrible because they just plain out chose the wrong associated color with it. So go to Google, type in look at my color wheel, look up what colors complement your color of choice. I would typically suggest picking one that you like, and just looking at the things that go with it. Blue yellow is very, very common. Black white is very common. We see some with purple and red, things like that go together. Certain things don't go together. So I can't tell you how many times I've seen things like purple and pink going together. They're very similar colors, and the logo ends up getting faded out to the background. Or worse still is a red-green logo. So that can represent something like Christmas in people's minds. So be very careful about what you choose with that. And of course, you know, there's all sorts of resources that can assist you with this, but be very careful when you select your colors. They do say a lot about your business, and this is just kind of laying down that foundation for getting things started. Okay, so you have your colors in mind. I'll just choose ours. Ours, we chose blue and orange for the fact that they are related to one another. They are counter colors, and the emotions that they elicit in the people that see our colors. So we chose blue and orange. And the next thing that I really want to encourage you to do is just think. Just take a second, take a breath, and think about what you want your logo to say about your business. Big construction branding, what we had in mind was that we were apt to make people's brands huge, to make them big. So immediately we just started brainstorming, and we thought about what's big, what's huge, what's something that people can relate to. We landed on a gorilla. No regrets about that whatsoever. We love our gorilla. It is a staple in our business. It is something that we make lots of jokes about. We make gorilla noises. We make all sorts of stuff. But the point is, it is a unique logo. I'm not saying our logo is the best or anything. I'm saying it was our choice. It was a choice that we made it something that jumps off the page. It's not an initial. It's not a signature. It's something that really jumps off the page. And it's also something that, in general, maybe you don't immediately know what we do based on the logo, but you can kind of jump to a conclusion. Big size, construction, you know, we're working in the construction industry, and branding. So, you know, we put these things together with our logo. God knows you know exactly what we're talking about. Okay, logos, colors, you got that all figured out. I want you to raise your right hand and repeat the following words after me. I am not a graphic designer. I have seen so many people screw that up. They try to do their logos themselves, and they look like these pixelated things that look terrible. My favorite example is the Kansas City Chiefs logo. No offense to all of you Chiefs fans out there, but y'all's logo looks terrible. It's pixelated. It's meant to look like an arrowhead, but that thing needs to be updated for sure. Lots of companies try to do the same thing, and it's a mistake every single time. You're not a graphic designer. Let a graphic designer do your work. There are plenty to hire out there, and they will more than likely do a better job than you ever could, because that's what they do. Always trust the professionals when it comes to something as important as a foundational piece like your logo. Okay, so next up, we're going to talk about social media profiles, which ones you need, which ones you don't, and which ones, quite frankly, that you need to put a little bit of attention into. So we'll kind of go through each one a little bit here, and the purpose of this video is to kind of show and display and share what types of things you want to do to get your brand off the ground. And by the way, guys, if you like this video, please click the link below, like it, share it, show your friends, laugh at it. I don't care, but definitely we love to hear your participation, and anything that you can do that or any questions that you may have, please post them underneath here. So starting off with everybody's favorite social media platform, Facebook. So with Facebook, you really want to run a company page with that. So if you're in the construction industry, even if you're just a one-man show, I strongly suggest that you go ahead and make that company page, get it out of the way, and start using that as a means to interact with folks and do things in your community. So doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you're an HVAC contractor, a general contractor, a roofer, a remodeler. It makes no difference. Go ahead and make that Facebook company page. It is very easy. There are lots of resources online to get you to give you help with that. Just Google how to make a Facebook page and follow the prompts. It's very simple. Here's the pieces that are not so simple when it comes to creating a Facebook page. So the first thing is we want to use your logo. So make sure your logo is square. So if you have a rectangular logo, you definitely want to get at least one rendition of where the logo is a square so that it fits in that space. And then the next thing that you want to do is develop a banner image. So Facebook is, well, it's Facebook. I don't want to bite the hand that feeds, but it's Facebook. I mean, since we've been working, it's changed its interface dozens of times. I'm not exaggerating. And it changes its rules every day. So today is March 30th, 2021. And by the time you're seeing this, there's a certain likelihood that what I'm about to say is going to change again. It's just the way the world is. You got to keep adapting to it. But one of the pieces about a banner photo is that a banner photo size is different now on desktop than mobile. This was changed at the beginning of the year. And so the desktop specifications for a Facebook page banner image are 820 by 312 pixels. 820 by 312 pixels. So it looks a little wider and it's kind of short. Now a mobile banner image on the other end is 640 by 360. And so what does this mean? It means that it is more condensed this way and longer this way. So the purpose is that you definitely want to be very careful with your spacing. I've seen a lot of companies right now that are using the old spacing that was before 2021, and naturally their stuff just looks like it's out of size, out of date. So be sure that your banner image is updated appropriately. This is one of those things that's extraordinarily easy to do. Now, what types of stuff should go in a banner photo? Well, ideally, it's photos of you on your job, photos of your business, photos of your office if you have one. And ultimately, when somebody looks at a banner image, I want you to be able to answer one question. What do I do? So if you are a roofer, I want to see a lot of roofs. If you are an HVAC contractor, I want to see a whole lot of air conditioning units and air conditioning things put in. Electricians, same thing. Let's work in a fuse box, something like that. But we want to communicate what we do. It's okay to use things like having your brand logo in there, or photos of your family, stuff like that, to make it a little bit more homey appealing. But you definitely want to be able to answer the question, what do I do for a living? And that's what the purpose of a company page is. Instagram is optional. Facebook is not optional. Facebook is required. Instagram is optional. Instagram is more meant to be a sharing tool. It is a social media platform where people can send each other things, stay in the loop with things. I've seen certain contractors do exceptionally well with it just because they communicate with their populace. All that you really need for Instagram is a logo. And most of the content that I suggest that you place up will share on both Facebook and Instagram. So just by connecting that slider, it's something where you can have two platforms to serve as your marketing tools virtually effortlessly with that. Instagram is optional. Facebook is required. Next up, and this is the one where I see a ton of contractors not be on. I have no idea why. It's free. Definitely something you should be a part of. I would consider it required, but Nextdoor. Nextdoor is it's an up-and-coming platform. It's humongous at the moment. In fact, at the beginning of this year, there were over 200,000 neighbors. That means users in Nextdoor language on the platform. So chances are your neighbors are on it right now looking for stuff. And it's meant to be like a neighborhood community watch type of a program. Not huge in all areas, but if you live in an urban area, you better bet you have opportunities available to you on Nextdoor. I would suggest getting ahead of the curve on Nextdoor, filling in your profile details, and getting an account on that. Nextdoor, required. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a very interesting platform. LinkedIn is the B2B social media platform. So if you want to get commercial jobs, you better be on LinkedIn. That's just the digs. If you want to work for companies, if you want to have recurring contracts with businesses, you got to be on LinkedIn. It's just the simple. There's no two ways about it with that. Again, profile photo. Use your logo. Again, logo has to be, the size on LinkedIn is 300 by 300. It is a square. And make sure that your logo is centered enough to where when the LinkedIn thing zooms in, we can see all of your logo. That will serve just fine as far as your logo is concerned. And by the way, just like with Facebook, remember to make a company page on LinkedIn. So it's not good enough to just have your own thing. Even if you are a one-man show, let's definitely make this something where people can see and respond and respect your brand professionally, and get those recommendations in as well. LinkedIn's banner image size is a weird one. I have no idea why they came up with this size, but it is the size. It is 1,128 by 191 pixels is the size for the banner photo. I don't know why it's that size. Again, there are lots and lots and lots of tools on the internet that you can do to design these things. They don't have to be professionally done. But ideally, once again, they're answering that same question of, what do I do for a living? If you're an electrician, put some electricity on there. Put some fuse boxes and panels on there. If you work in AC, let's put some AC units on there. Heating, same thing, all the above. So those pretty much sum up your social media platforms with that. Next up, let's talk website. Okay, last thing about getting a brand off the ground, getting construction started here is website design. Now, there are so many features that I could go into about website design. Everything from user interface, SEO, brand colors, sitemaps, you name it. I could do all these things, but I just want to give you enough to get you started on this. So I will just tell you what we use, what we've had great success with. There are tons of different things to use, however, but with that said, I'm just giving you our recommendations from what we use. So we purchased our URL through GoDaddy. We've worked with a ton of different URL providers. GoDaddy is just really easy to do with that. With that said, we used to use GoDaddy's hosting service, and it was terrible. I mean, it literally made our website lag by like 10-15 seconds, which is way too long for any website. So sorry, GoDaddy, but that's just the digs what happened, and you need to get that fixed. So not trying to cause any hate over here, but I would not suggest using GoDaddy's hosting, even though it is consolidated, easy, and it keeps it all on one platform. We ended up using Cloudways hosting, which has been tremendous for us, and we have saved so many clients so much load speed time on their website just by switching over to Cloudways hosting with that. So those are just our recommendations for using those things. But let's talk a little bit about website design and website development. Websites are adapting, they are changing, they are getting bigger, they are getting better, and that situation is not going to go away anytime soon. So the long and short of it is that if you can't afford to make a website, typically it's probably better just to go without one for the time being. You definitely want to have a professionally done website before you have a crummy one, because a crummy one in this day and age can really hurt your brand. So, when you're getting your brand off of the ground, I know money can be tight, but having a good website is like laying down that foundation of the house. You would never suggest that somebody would put a house up on gray mud or something that would put their house into a sinkhole. And so I want to set you guys up for success in that you really need to have a really well done website that communicates what you do effectively towards your potential customers. But what types of things need to be on a website? So first and foremost, it should be very easy to read and not an eyesore. So in general, you want to stay away from the usage of too many bright colors. Secondly, you should have a very easy way for somebody to get in contact with you on every single page. So for us, on a lot of the websites that we do, we always include that phone number on the top. We always include a contact us thing that's very easy to see, easy to read on the top of every single page so that somebody can get in contact with you very quickly. So that's just two design features that I really recommend that you have. Outside of that, it's really nice to include an About Us section. So for some reason, we see this over and over and over again on analytics, but we see where people are just really interested in knowing the corporate culture behind the people they do business with. I remember that we were actually working with an HVAC company, and I was a little bit surprised, but when I pulled into their website analytics on their Google Analytics, I happened to see that their number one page for site traffic wasn't their home page. It was actually their About Us page. And it was really interesting because it was two gentlemen, they are local, and they had a really neat brand story as far as how they got into business, how they worked on their partnership together. And it's just a really cool story. And I mean, it's shown through as well because it was what people kept going back to. They got a lot of referral business too, so I'm sure people were really interested in looking and reading that story. So you can't really omit the possibility of having that on your website. Outside of that, of course, you need to have your services and try to spell them out a little bit. You don't necessarily need to have prices, and in fact, in general, I would suggest against having prices on there unless price is something that is a competitive advantage to you. So if you're using lawn care, which is primarily price driven, and you're able to offer exceptional service at a decent price, then that might be something that I would put on there. The same thing goes for carpet cleaning or cleaning services. So getting a quote like that and having your website act as your 24/7 online sales system is a great method that you can use in the long term to get yourself more leads. So definitely want to include a services page on your website as well. Lastly, you want your website to be able to update, and you want it to be safe, and you want to be able to have updated content. So whether it's stuff that you're doing in the community or different opinion sections and segments that you have, a huge piece of SEO is updating the content on your website frequently. I always suggest that websites always have a blog section, even blog or articles or news, even if they are not, if it's not something that they're doing regularly. But just having content like that on your page is something that gives people the opportunity to say, hey, this is a real company, they're alive, they're active, they are doing things. It is a huge piece as far as SEO is concerned. And that pretty much wraps up some of the basic stuff with websites. Guys, if we can help you out at all with any of these things, it's what we do for a living. So click the link below. You can always schedule a free consultation with me or one of our lovely sales team, and we'll be happy to get you started on any of this logo color marketing, any of the social media page setups, or your website. Thanks and take care.